First of all, hi, we are just fresh off the cusp of an argument, and we are here together for.
Get on my nerves, y'all. Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to The Awakening.
Since you taking over, go ahead. Go ahead and get finished with it. Introduce me.
We have here the wonderful Reggie Whitley and myself.
See how you need people in your life who, even when you get on their nerve, I don't say nobody get on my nerves. My word means something. That they still call you wonderful in the presence of others. My God, it's a word in here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So we are here to talk about. So one of my things, I have I don't have a lot of favorites. It's hard for me to come up with favorites because there's just so much out there. My favorite color changes every time you look around. It's gold right now. It's a mixture of gold and orange. I can't choose between the two. My favorite singer, I have to actually sit down and assess those things. But right now, my favorite singer is John Legend. If I were being honest, though, I would probably say Adele is, above John, but we'll keep John there. My favorite show, I have a favorite show, Community. I don't have a favorite song or anything. I have a few favorites, but overall, I don't have a lot because it's just so much goodness out there. My favorites always change, but I have a favorite theme song of the show. I love theme songs. I'm the one when you're watching like Netflix or Hulu and stuff, and the theme song start playing and it say skip, like skip song or skip opening or whatever it says. I'm gonna sit there and watch it. I want to watch it all the way through. I get it, because it sets the stage. And I love music. I am just a lover of music, period. I love lyrics. So my favorite theme song is Reading Rainbow. The Reading Rainbow theme song. Y'all probably watched it way back in the day. I remember it with LeVar Burton, I think. Well, you're a little older than me, so those who are my age probably watched it back in the day. I actually remember watching it in the morning, especially Saturday mornings. But the song, I wish we could play it. I don't know how the law works with that. But it just goes, so you know the words, because you listen to it. You tried to tell me before we got started, and I wouldn't listen. So what are the words are pretty much like?
Take a look, it's in a book. Reading Rainbow. I can go anywhere. I can do anything in ways to grow. Friends to know.
Yeah, she didn't do it justice. You're not doing a good job. So I want you guys to, because you don't have any enthusiasm with it. I wanted you to sing it, actually. I really was expecting you to bust out and start just singing it.
So
the Lord would have anointed you.
You wanted to edit like a minute at this thing after I got finished singing that song.
No, it would have been good. The anointing would have fallen up on you. We probably wouldn't even been able to finish the podcast. I would have been laying prostrate in the floor, weeping. You could have ushered God into this, but no, she wants to speak it. So, and the first episode aired in 1983.
I wish people
1983. You were still a child in 83. Why you ain't never seen it?
79, but I was born in 79. But I wish people can see how you treated me about this song before we came on.
I wish people could see how I was trying to listen to the song. It's like 49 seconds, guys. And she started talking about something off the wall.
And it was so crazy because, her first time.
And I just want to say it with out of love. Make that your last time ever interrupting this song again. That's your first and last warning. Next time I'm cutting you off. Do you hear me? Off. Now I don't give warnings twice. Warning the first time, action the second time. Just in the I was sitting here listening to the song. I was like, let me listen to the, and she just started.
Let's go.
Interrupted the whole the whole song. I was like, what happened? Say that again, love.
And you stuck your middle finger up at me.
I what?
Yes.
The devil is in you. That devil. We doing deliverance when we get off of here. We doing it because a lion spirit is on you. So, LeVar Burton was the host of Reading Rainbow. And the song, what I love about it is that it just inspires children and some adults that you can do anything, you can go anywhere. And it's really talking about, reading books can kind of take you there, take you to that place. But it still instills in your mind, oh, I really can do anything. I really can go anywhere. And it really makes me think about how this show took viewers to a certain place where they were not able to go physically. And they were able to experience, and it opens your mind to see, oh, wow, this is what all the world has to offer. And the show, of course, is not on anymore, but we still have the responsibility, I believe, to the responsibility of allowing kids to see this is what is out there. This is what you have access to, because your mind can only go as far as you've seen. If you have never seen a mansion, why would you think that you could one day live in a mansion? If you've never seen somebody living in an overflow, why would you think that you can do anything but live paycheck to paycheck? So we want to talk about that, the importance of exposing your children to things that you may not have currently. Very briefly, so my family did very good at this. One of the things that I experienced pretty young, I don't know, I was maybe 16, I think it was I got the opportunity to travel overseas to, I don't know how many countries, but basically every country in the United Kingdom. So England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and North Ireland, I think it was.
Okay.
And say it again.
Nothing.
You're smart. And so I got to see a lot of while I was over there. I was there for like 21 days. And it really exposed me to so much, just to know. That was my knowing. That was my learning experience of, oh, there's so much more out there. There's so much to do. It's my first time on a plane. It was my first time traveling without family. It was my first time going somewhere for that long. It was my first time, of course, overseas. And so a lot of firsts were even in that. I got to eat some of their foods that I never knew existed, drink some of the drinks that I never knew existed. Some of the stuff that we see on TV or on TikTok and stuff, I've been there and I've done it. And so it really exposed me to not just that, oh, there is such thing as England, but oh, I can travel anywhere. And so we want to talk about the importance of exposing your children to things that you may not have been exposed to as a child, in the benefit of the child knowing, oh, this is here. So talk about that. Start us off, Shontal. I mean, I kind of started us off, but take us somewhere.
So Soraya got the opportunity to well, first, let me tell you about me. I never went. We only went to Memphis, growing up, Jackson. It was still in Mississippi. So when I got older, I was kind of unfamiliar territory, but I knew that I wanted to leave here and leave Mississippi. Like after, whatever. You know, you see stuff, you see people read books. I didn't get a chance to go on my class trip. And if I'm not mistaken, they went to Florida. So it's a lot of things I didn't get a chance to do. And I think it was because, you know, my mama, she ain't really never been nowhere neither, like talking about that. I think it was still, and yeah. So, but anyway, but I never was exposed to anything like that. So when I did have my daughter, I always told myself if I had kids, we gonna go. Like we going. And so I got to experience that with my in a previous relationship. People, you know, I moved to Dallas, and when I moved to Dallas, I'm gonna tell you something. I never been around Africans. I never been around Mexicans. I had never been around Asians, Chinese, or none of that. So moved to the city, I'm like, oh my God, like it's a bunch of different. And then when I went downtown Dallas, I'm like these buildings, the skyscrapers, just all this and all that. I'm like, oh wow. I wish I would have seen that as a child because it would have helped me. No, I feel like if you show them when they're young, show kids when they're young, it'll help them in school to know what you working hard for, what you graduating for. You graduating for something, not just to get a sheet of paper, but you doing this for something to help you out. So I was amazed. So one of my things was when I got kids, I want them to experience stuff early. Sarai was born in Texas. But she was young. So she knew a lot. I had did a bucket list one time, you know, of what I wanted us to do, you know, me and my husband to do with the kids if I ever got married, the places I want them to go. So we go to Texas. We hadn't been there in over 8 years. Soraya is like, it's big. Like everything is big, the freeway. She was just blown away. She never rode a plane. It was bad for her at first on the way there. But she was holding my hand. She was scared. But on the way back, she did wonderful. The experience for her was lovely. But when we made it there, she was like, oh, Mama, your friend's rich. Or TT, this, because she wasn't used to seeing that type of lifestyle. Like she wasn't used to looking at people with houses built like that. And, you know, and it blew my mind because in the back of my head, I'm like, girl, this just how people, this just living. It's a city. It's city versus, you know, this. But the amazement of how she reacted and what she did, it was like she was looking at everything, going room to room, looking at this room. Oh, they got this, they got that. And I'm like, Soraya, this is normal. But I had to realize it wasn't normal for her. And so it showed her, I feel like it showed her the different dynamics of what she could and couldn't do at a young age. Like she's 10 already. She done been in North Carolina. She done been to Atlanta. She done been to Texas. She done been to Oklahoma. So I'm like, girl, you doing this at 10. Your mama didn't get to do some of this stuff until she was 19, 20. So I think it's important that we get to show them. I don't care if it's either you a savings, put it up, put some money up and get your kids out of their environment to show them it's something different because she was elated and I think it inspired her.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things, like you said, it'll really show what is out there because we have to think about, because even when you were telling me, I was saying, why hadn't she ever seen that? I was like, well, why would she have seen? Mm-hmm. And so I have to think about stuff like that because whereas we are used to certain stuff, children are not. And we aren't used to it just because it's not one of those things that come with age. It's one of those things that come with experiences. I will never forget a former teacher of mine was telling us the story long after I graduated. We kept in touch and she was telling me a story about how with her job as an educator, she would travel with her students. It was a VOTEC, like a vocational course. And they would travel to, I forgot where it was, but they would travel somewhere. to compete. And I think it was outside of Mississippi, but she was saying she was telling me about how when they were on the bus, they were leaving um, Greenville. For those of you who don't know, um, I went to Votech in Greenville, Mississippi, and Greenville is like right beside Leland. Greenville is like what it you can drive 5 or 6 minutes and you'll be in Leland. Um, well, I would say about 10 minutes, really, about 10 minutes and you'll be in Leland. And so she said that she'll never forget when she saw the kids taking pictures of the sign, letting them know that they were in Leland. And Leland is such a small. Let me tell you, Leland is like population of maybe I don't know a few thousand. It's a very small town, and they were just excited to be in Leland because they had never been out of their city. They were born in Greenville, raised in Greenville, had never vacationed, had never done anything outside of Greenville. To just go one city over was a success to them. And there are some people who are like that years and, they live 20, 30, 40, some 50 and 60 before they leave their area. And it's just so important to let your kids experience that early because to never have left, let's just think about it. If you've never left your city, no matter what your city is, you don't know anything about another culture. Like you were talking about, Shontal, you had never been around people of any other race but yours. You had never seen all, of course, yours, and I would say maybe, white people, because of course they are in Greenville as well. But as far as like the Latino community, you knew nothing about.
I didn't even know what an Ethiopian. I thought Ethiopians were black people. I mean, when I seen them, I'm like, okay, what's the difference between them? We got the same color, but they was like, no, they Ethiopian. I'm like, what in the world is an Ethiopian? Like,
and some people look at that and be like, yeah, how you didn't know that? You just ignorant. But no, if you've never had that experience, how would a person know? Mm-hmm. And so that is what, because it opens your mind to so much. Like you learn of so many different cultures, you learn of so many different ways and traditions, and it keeps you from being so close-minded. That is a good way to make sure your children aren't raised as being close-minded and selfish, because now they can see things through other lenses, because now you've had connection with people of other backgrounds. That's right. Why I always say it's even important to, some people, their only friends are family members. Mm-hmm. Like, man, how messed up is that? Because if you crazy, your mama crazy, you got her from your daddy, all y'all crazy, you go to the family reunion, all y'all a bunch of nuts. Who gonna tell y'all, who gonna speak up and say, hey guys, I think we're crazy? Nobody, because everybody's crazy. So I think that's why it's very important to go outside of your comfort zone, your familiarity, and mingle with outsiders, especially when you can do it outside. And it's so easy now. Like it's easier now, I think, to expose your kids to other things because of so many opportunities that we have.
And the food. Let's not talk about the food.
Oh
my goodness.
Because some people just
use the chicken. Because when we grew up, we was chicken, neck bones, ground beef, fish, just the basics. Like I never had
cooked the same way.
Yeah, just cooked the same way. I never had crab legs before. I never was exposed to steak. I mean, it's just, some of it is considered luxury food or whatever, but it's just the exposure. Enchiladas. Never had an enchilada till I moved to Texas. Just a basic food. And it was like, I was in heaven. So it did teach me gratefulness and being grateful for, when I got older. But just think if we can expose that when you get younger. Right. Your whole mind frame will know or change and be like, okay, this is for me. This is something that I can have. And I told my daughter when she was at my friend's house, and after we left and we got on the plane, got back, like, the whole experience, what we went for, you have knocked out things that in this season of your life at 10 years old, people had never experienced grown. And this is good for you. You know, it was good. It was a good, when I tell you, she was just blown away. And she called my friend rich. That's how bad it was. So my friend was like, no, I'm not rich. I'm just working and living. Like, this is how it is here. Like, it's not. And then we have to think too. Some people think, oh, they think they more than whatever. No, you work for what you get. And so, and that's basically what she was telling her. You know, I'm in a city. I can live in an apartment, but I chose to live in a house. You know, I can live in a condo, or I chose to live in a townhouse. And it's like, it just blew her. It blew her. So when we came back home, Soraya was like, this this ain't for me, Mama. I want to go back. And that made me feel good as a parent because I got to expose her to something different. Either going to the beach, like she went to the beach last year. She went to North Carolina with my sister. My sister took her to the beach, and that was one of the things that she always wanted to do for her birthday, go to the beach. So last year I made it happen. And it was like, well, me and my sister. And it was like she was just, when she came back, the excitement in her face was like, I can do this. This place, I can stay in, you know, I can stay there, or I can do this. It was just, it's blown away. And we need to inbox take the limits off these kids.
Because what it is it's really almost like a puzzle. You know, you'll never get all the pieces of the puzzle. I don't think. Of course, there are some people who like travel everywhere. Like literally, we see them on like YouTube or Facebook. They make it their like it's a goal to travel to like every country or something like that. But you'll never feel all the puzzle pieces. But every experience is another puzzle piece that they get. Because if you expose them to it when they're younger, chances are greater that they will not have more mistakes. As far as if you're always in your city and you just know you don't like your city, okay, when you get of age and it's time for you to move and you are able to move, you don't even know where to go. You've never been anywhere. You don't know where to start. At least you have some kind of foundation. I remember going here. I remember going there. I remember doing this. And so it really, because everything won't be enjoyable. You know, you can expose your children to the beach. What that does is it lets them know if they like the beach or if they don't like the beach. You can expose your kids to, I don't know, Chicago in the wintertime, because that is a different kind of winter. You know, I like it because I'm just like a challenge. I'm a little off in my head. But even people in Chicago don't want to be in Chicago in the winter. But you can expose them to that because it'll let them know I'll never move to Chicago because it's just too cold here, or I prefer the cold. So you really let them think about things that they wouldn't have thought about before. That way, when they get of age and they are saying, okay, I want to move somewhere, they don't have to say, I'm just going to base it on what my friends are doing, or I'm just going to base it on what this YouTuber is doing, or what these influencers are doing. I have some kind of foundation I'm not starting from scratch. And it also, like you say, it gives them such an excitement because it's like, look at this experience that I just had. And it can be easier than we think, because sometimes it's as simple as she got an experience, your daughter got an experience because y'all went to your friend's house. And you said something about jealousy that I want to touch on, because that is so important, because we cannot be jealous enough. Because, you know, a lot of people would say, no, I ain't going to take my kids over there to my sister's house because her kids spoiled. They got this big old house. They think they better. We have to get rid of the jealousy. And it's just family. It's a family visit. But allow them to visit, even if it's with you, and then have the freedom. And I want you to talk about this, have the freedom to experience it. Don't be looking upside their head when they get excited about something. They walk in looking around. Stop acting like you ain't never seen that. They haven't.
Yeah.
You have to let them experience it. And you said you had that with Soraya. At first you were like,
I actually was She was we was at my friend's house, and she was just, she was blown away, and I'm like, girl, it's just a normal house. Sit down somewhere. You act like you ain't never been that way. You act like you ain't never seen. And it hit me. My friend said, "Girl, shut up. Leave her alone. She ain't doing nothing. She just being a child." And it hit me. She just being a child. She ain't used to seeing it. She's not used to seeing that much space, or she didn't ever know it's an option and it's affordable for you to have a playroom and stuff like that. So it was like, I was like, girl, act like I done took you somewhere before you been somewhere. But I'm like, she hadn't seen this type of living. She hadn't seen this before, even though she grew up in it, but she hadn't experienced it since she, know of it. And I'm like, girl, calm down. Like, seriously, just a picture on the wall. But things like that excited her. Like the whole decorating, the whole space of having kids having their own space to play and got to play in a room. So she was like blown away. And I'm like, girl, calm down. But I thank God for that, because like I said, she's now had that experience. So when we came back home, the first thing she like, I'm ready to go. Like I'm I want to move. I'm ready to go. I want this. Not saying that we can't get it here or whatever, but just the experience of her looking at the different restaurants, knowing she don't have 10 options, she got 50 options. Like whatever you want to eat, she actually had Starbucks for the first time.
And she, my God, want to do it because
she seen a TikTok like, Mom, I want Starbucks. I said, girl, I don't even drink Starbucks, but I gave her that. I was able to give her that experience. So she was like, oh, now I could tell my friends I'd have had some Starbucks. It's like she's getting it's like she's being grateful of the small thing. So I was like, Lord, thank you. Thank you for letting her have this experience. And so she'll know, this ain't it don't stop here.
And then it's good that you said that, because it plays into what I said a little earlier about it doesn't have to be so difficult, so expensive, because children, like you say, it's the small things. I mean, Starbucks, that costs y'all, we talked about the other day, cost y'all like $11 for both of y'all to have Starbucks. And that's an experience that she took with her, like, I had Starbucks. So instead of thinking, you don't have to send your kids to Disney World. No shade to Disney. I don't even know how much it costs. I just know people say that they save up to go to Disney World. They have the whole experience. You don't have to save to do something big like that. You can do something as small as, let's just go out of town. Let's just drive an hour and a half, couple of hours away, to this restaurant, to this experience, to this playroom, just because you can give them something that they can take with them and show them it is the small things. It's not the big major things. And they can look at it as if, I'm grateful for this. This is something that I've never had before. And it shows them it's not out of reach. Because so much stuff we see, especially now, with all of the social media influencers, with TV, with movies, a lot of stuff feels out of reach if you're not used to it. You see people, because I mean, that's a good example. Starbucks. You see people, the celebrities walking around with their Starbucks cups, just walking around. You see people on TikTok ordering those fancy drinks and stuff. And if you don't know any better, it feels like, I'll never have that. I'll never be able to experience that. And so much other stuff. Wow. I see this all the time, but I just see it on TikTok and they look famous. They look fancy. They look wealthy. I don't have that experience. I don't have access to that, when really and truly it's very much so in reach. And it's simple. And it's a simple thing that you can give your child to just make their eyes light up. Yeah. And so even when it comes to I lost my train of thought. I was gonna go to something about bigger things, but I can't remember what I was gonna say. But go ahead and say something.
But it really teaches them, like you say, because they look at the stars, they look at the TV, and they be thinking, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I can't afford that. And I'm like, Soraya, just think, if we go out of town, we go somewhere, you save your money. And then that's another thing. It teaches them how to save. So if you tell them, like I told her, we can go on these trips, we can go to this place, but we need to put money back and save. So when you want that bag of chips or stuff, something that you really don't need, just sacrifice and go without it so you can do or get what you want. Or when we do go out of town, you can buy your own. It teaches them, I think it taught her how she has a way of setting up her life her life goals and what she can do to contribute to have these things. And so for me, that was 100.
And that is what I was going to say. I was going to talk about the fact that it does teach them, especially when you can go places and have them to meet different people or just talk to different people. There are so many ways that they can connect in a way, not form like a bond or something, but just connect in a way to see, oh, you live this kind of house, like you said Soraya did. Why are you rich? No, we're not rich. We just, because what it does, I don't know about Soraya, I'll just speak in general. When children say stuff like that, oh, you're rich, it's to put their mind like, oh, you're that far ahead. You're that far out from where I am. I may never get there. And it's good that she said, your friend said, no, I'm not rich. I just work, because now it puts it from I'm here, you're way there, to, oh, I'm here, but I can get there this way. It's not just I see this and I don't know how to get there. It's, oh, all I got to do is work and I can get there. Because we see it, and I keep going back to social media because it is unfortunately, one of the top 5 influencers of children. Because, I mean, let's be honest, what child isn't on TikTok? What child isn't getting on, Facebook or something? They're always seeing something. Another of the top 5 are the shows and movies that they watch. So these influencers, for the most part, they just talk about, like, everything looks so glamorous with them. What is one that I see often? It is day in the life of a work from home agent. And I mean, it looks so good. Everything looks clean. If y'all pay attention to these TikToks and stuff, I'm on there more than I should be. Everything is clean, everything is spotless. They have children with white walls, and the walls are clean. The furniture is white, it's clean. And it looks very much so impossible, if you will. But experiencing it in person and really meeting people who are actually there and don't have up a facade, it opens the door to achievable. This is achievable. This isn't impossible. This is achievable. And so I think that that's why it's so important to expose them to not only the things, but also the people. So they can see, oh, regular people live this kind of way. And I say, like, regular people.
Right.
Meaning, I feel regular, so I can live this type of way as well.
Yeah, it's obtainable. And that's all that matters. It's like you have to, and that's just like even with a lot of people we teach, and I'm gonna just say this too, because I know a lot of people teach their kids. Due to the fact of how big some is, that's why they will never go and stay in down talk, that state of down talk, that place. Florida, they have too many hurricanes. They have so many. Okay, go visit, and not in when it ain't hurricane season. Or Texas have wildfire. It's just there's so many excuses we limit them on not to just be trustworthy in God and live their life. Or
it's really putting a fear. You really are implanting different fears about different places.
Or why they shouldn't do something, instead of encouraging them to know, as long as you got God, as long as you, or whatever your religion is, that you're okay, and just have faith. But you triggering them, because I had one of my stepkids. Oh, I ain't coming to see y'all if y'all move such and so and so because it's this and it's that. And I'm like, what? Like, no. Don't look at it like that. Don't be scared to leave Mississippi to even visit another state because you seen this on TV or you seen that's TV. You know, everything on TV ain't real. And anything, a killing, a death, or whatever, that's worldwide. That's happening everywhere. So it may not be as many, as many things, but the larger the territory, the greater the risk. So
Because let me just touch on that. It ain't got nothing to do with this. Because I want people to stop saying stuff like, "Oh, in this place they have so many more killings." Oh, every time you look around this way, because really and truly, when you look at like the percentage as far as crime versus crime compared to population, a lot of the times it's not that far apart. Because whereas there can be 200 crimes or 200 murders in this particular city, and your city so far has only had 20, okay, but this city has hundreds of thousands more people than your city does. So the
right.
percentage there is not that far apart
Mhm.
when we look at based on population. So I'm also thinking of, I hear so many older people that I'm talking to, like parents, grandparents, and all y'all, because too many, like we said earlier, put those fears on the, because the mindset, it's okay for you to have your man. It's really not. But since we can do nothing about it, it's okay for you to have your mindset. Just don't try to put it off on the children. I'll never forget. I met a guy last year, I think it was, and we saw some houses, saw a lot of different houses, and he was talking about how I think there was a house for sale or something not far, and he was like, "I never buy a house." This is an older guy; it's probably in his sixties or sevens. See, I never wanted to buy a house because you can't take it with you when you leave anyway. And I said, "How stupid are you, sir?" I said it in my mind, because I ain't disrespectful.
No, you gangster. You turn gangster with me.
I whispered that I am sometimes. But you made me say it out loud for everybody to hear. So, but I let him make it. I have a lot of grace because I was like, man, what? Because I didn't even, I was so blown away that I was like, I can't even think of how to nicely put like, because I want to know. I'm that kind of person. Everything is a case study with me. Um, I just like to know how people think because I want to know like how are you thinking. So now I want to know, do your children have houses? Because you've had this mindset all your life, according to you. And did you put this off on your kids? Now they don't have houses because I can't take it with me when I die anyway, which is so dumb. I was like, man,
Right.
this guy is slow. But don't put your beliefs onto the kids, your fears onto, even with the small comments, because I've actually heard children who I can bring up something like, I flew somewhere and they'll bring up how scared they are flying and all this stuff. And they'll say what I've heard, like their grandparents said.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you got this from that. Now you finna grow up with the
Yeah.
same fear, not because you had any experience, or I have a family member who, like, they have generations of fears of dogs and cats. Generations. Like, their mother scared, they are scared, their children are scared, those children are scared. And it's like, so I just had a conversation one day and I was like, so where did this start? Where are y'all? And it came from like generations back. Somebody got bitten by a cat or scratched or something, and the cat had rabies and the person almost died generations back. And none of her daughters like cats. All of her daughters are scared of cats. And all of her daughters are scared of cats. And all of their daughters. And I'm sitting there like, y'all don't think that this is a problem? Like, you're proud of this. It is invoking that fear. So we have to stop invoking fears. It's one thing to try to spare your children. It's
Right.
another thing to put your fears on them and keep them in a box. Because what happens a lot of the times is when you don't allow them to experience stuff with you, they're gonna experience it. They
Mhm.
just might not experience it in the best or in a healthy way. Or they'll long for it and then they'll find it somewhere else. So that's why it's important to expose them to it early. Because I'm thinking about, like, if you have a daughter and you expose her to stuff, expose her to traveling and stuff, let her see this is possible, expose her to nicer houses. This is how you get there. People with money, this is how you get there. Expose them to that way. When that joker come up 10 years later and he got a bankroll and he said, well, I got this big house. I got this fancy car. I ain't never seen nothing like that before. Ooh, let me hook up with this over here. You broke that because you already exposed them to it. They have already learned about it. Now they don't have to get impressed with what they see in the
Mhm.
future coming from a bad source. So that is a very important lesson I think that parents should learn. It's a good reason to try to figure it out. And it's very obtainable. You don't have to go far. You can just drive, like I said, an hour and a half, 2 hours away. You can start a savings account. You mentioned earlier, Shontal, about starting a savings account. You can start a savings account and say, not this year, but next year, this is what we're going to do. Make it a
Mhm.
tradition every other year and make that a goal to get there. Every other year, we'll take a little trip.
Right.
Or every quarter, we'll go to a different restaurant. We'll go to a couple of towns over. Kids are kids. They're not looking at how far you go. They're not looking at how much of an effort that you put into it. They're looking at how it makes them feel. So it can be something very simple
Mhm.
when they become of age. I'm talking about when they become of age. I'm talking about like 5, 6, 7, when they're going to actually remember it. Because, I just don't understand. We're not here to talk about it. I just don't understand why people have like these big shindig of parties for a 1-year-old's birthday. I just can't really wrap my mind around why you at one, your child turning one, and you take them to the trampoline place, and they don't even know how to walk or barely do so. I just don't be understanding it. So I ain't saying do all that when they're young, because they're not gonna remember it. Like they don't even know it's their birthday, guys. Because I feel like I'm gonna be that parent. I'm not doing a first birthday party. Why?
I
For
think I
what?
birthday party at the at daycare.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and Joshua, I think his was at McDonald's. And
See,
it wasn't a lot. I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of money on a birthday party.
why do people do that?
Like I'm gonna save it for the big ones.
You know? Because I still remember my seventh, and it doesn't even have to be fancy. I still remember my seventh birthday. We had it at Pizza Inn. Was I turning 7? I think it was 7. We had it at Pizza Inn. I remember some of the people that came. It doesn't have to be big and extravagant. And I keep saying that because I know in the minds of adults, a lot of you all think with children, you think that it has to be something major to leave a lasting impact. It doesn't. I mean,
It really don't. It really don't.
like that was 20 years ago, literally.
Say,
And I still remember the birthday.
say that on that trip that they ain't never been on. Take them somewhere they ain't never been. And that's my goal. I tell my kids now, we ain't finna spend all that money on no parties and stuff. Don't y'all want to go this place for the summer? Don't y'all want to do that? Okay. Well, that's a sacrifice.
Right.
Mhm. But keep these kids out these boxes, y'all. Let these kids grow up and experience. And keep yourself out the box.
You
Break
know,
those. You have to keep yourself out. Just because your mom didn't go or your daddy didn't take you or whatever, that don't mean you can't go. And don't be scared. Stop being a lot of people scared to even move around. Scared for what? Like, come on. Get out of the box. Live. You only got one life to live. We ain't gonna be here long. People going fast, and what you gonna show for it? Oh, I just been sitting on my front porch, just going over the levee all my life. It's the furthest I've been. No, enjoy this thing. I think that's why he made it, Earth, the world, so you can go out and see his goodness.
I just want to make a correction. I'm gonna be here long. I don't know about nobody
You're
else.
gonna be here. I'm saying You know what I'm saying?
I know what you said.
I'm gonna just clear that
our
up.
words are powerful.
You got enough time to visit all these nations and states or whatever, but just don't put just go. Save up, put some of that money back, that casino money, or that drinking money, or that eating out money. I'm just saying, sacrifice. Get out. Get out.
See how nice I was. See how nice I've been, and when I'm nice, she picks up the slack. Cause see how she called y'all out. That's my kind of talk. So, so just wanted to leave you with that. You got anything else to add? I think that it was a very good lesson because a lot of people don't even think about. We think about ourselves sometimes, but a lot of people don't think about the impact that it leaves on the children. And, before I go back to you, and I also want to say, when you expose or when you allow your children to be exposed to other things, their dreams and aspirations do shift, their mindsets do shift. And so it's one of those things where you can't say back when you were this age, you said you were going to do this. You know, I still have people tell me that. You know, they ain't told me in a while. I think they know better now. But I remember people used to hold me to that. You used to say you were going to do this. You ain't saying nothing about that later. When you are exposed to different things, and you expose your child to different things, it allows their minds to grow. And so they can say at one time, this is what I want to do, but they've never experienced. It's because that's all they based on what they knew then. And so as it grows, so you have like the little bubble, and as the bubble grows and grows and grows and has more in it, their dreams, aspirations will shift. And that is a good thing because now when they get older, I went to college with people who they went to school for like 2 and 3 years and they were like, I don't know what my major is. I don't know what I'm doing here. A lot of them actually left college and went into programs that they didn't even need a college degree for, but they still got their student loan debt. It's because they weren't exposed to those things until they got in college and years down the line and they were like, oh, this looks interesting. And so all that money that was wasted. So all of these are just reasons why you should expose your children to so much more because you will let them miss a whole lot of mistakes, a whole lot of money wasted, debts collected that was unnecessary. Not saying that they're going to miss it all, not saying that they'll know about it all, but again, they're not starting at ground zero. They're not starting from nothing. They at least have a foundation. And they'll say, okay, I can rule this out, or this is how I feel about that. I like this. And they'll be able to start from there instead of starting from nothing. You got anything else to add?
Yep. That was perfect. Well said.
I said, you have anything else to add? And you said, yeah.
I already said, man, get them kids out the box. And you get out the box. Get out the box.
Man, get out the box, guys. So, that wraps up another one. Another one. Why are you dancing? What's going on?
I'll tell you after the show.
So let me wrap this thing up. We are excited that you joined us. I never know how to end, guys. Even I've learned that even when I be talking to people, like having meetings and stuff, I never know how to end it. So we get to the end and it's always very awkward, like bye. Like I just end very abruptly. So bye.
Peace out.